The murderer of a college student leaves an eerie message behind at the scene of the crime. This is the unsolved murder of Faith Hedgepeth. Let's step into the cold. When Connie Hedgepeth gave birth to a baby girl on the 26th of September 1992 in Warren County, North Carolina, she knew what she wanted to name her. Connie already had 2 daughters who were in their teens, and her husband, Ronald, had a drug problem. Connie knew she needed Faith to get her through this new chapter in her life. And so her daughter was named Faith Danielle Hedgepeth. But 2 decades later, and just a few weeks before her 20th birthday, Faith was murdered. Just have faith is a well-known saying, and it's one that Faith herself was known to use. Connie hung on to her faith after divorcing Ronald within a year of Faith's birth. With help from her older daughters, Connie raised Faith in Hollister and Warrenton. Faith was born into the Haliwa-Saponi Native American tribe. The tribe is recognized by North Carolina, and Warren County, where Faith was born, is part of the tribe's traditional territory. Faith was happy-go-lucky, and her determination led to many achievements. While she was in high school, Faith volunteered, took part in extracurricular clubs, and was a member of the cheerleading team, all while being an honor student. In 2010, Faith earned a Gates Millennium Scholarship, leading to her enrollment at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She was following in her father's footsteps by attending this university, although her father dropped out so he could raise his family. Faith was a biology major and aimed to become a teacher or a pediatrician. She supported herself by working as a waitress at a Red Robin restaurant while she studied. After taking the spring 2012 semester off, she returned to her studies after the summer break. Faith had wanted to make history in her family. She wanted to be the first family member to graduate from university. Someone put an end to this plan. On the morning of the 7th of September 2012, Faith's body was found in her bedroom in her off-campus apartment by her roommate Karena Rosario and her friend Marisol Rangel. Faith's body was on the floor, leaning against her bed. The mattress was askew, and Faith was partially nude. She had been wrapped in a quilt. Her death was a violent one. Her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Cuts were found on Faith's scalp and face, and bruises covered her arms and legs. Blood found under Faith's fingernails suggested that she had fought for her life. Semen was collected in a sexual assault kit. Who had killed Faith in such a vicious way? Investigators worked hard to piece together Faith's movements in the 24 hours before her murder. Faith had expressed interest in joining a Native American sorority on campus. At 5:45 p.m. on the 6th of September, she attended a rush event for the sorority held at the Shadowwood Apartments. Having arrived early, Faith waited for a friend to join her before taking part in the event. At 7:15 p.m., Faith decided to leave. She needed to spend time working on a paper she was writing on the history of her tribe. With her roommate Karena Rosario, Faith made her way to the Davis Library a campus building, at 8 p.m. While there, Faith sent texts to her father, discussing her hopes for joining the sorority and offering advice to him on a personal situation he was dealing with. She told Ronald Hedgepeth to have faith. Faith left her roommate at the library for a brief time before returning to pick her up at 11:30 p.m. They arrived back at their apartment at the Hawthorne at the View complex around midnight. Half an hour later, Faith and Karenna, who had been friends since their freshman year, headed out again, this time to the nightclub Thrill. The club, located in downtown Chapel Hill, would admit people under the legal drinking age of 21 to dance. Faith and Karenna met up with two men there. After a night of partying, security footage recorded the friends leaving while talking to some men. They had left the club because Karenna had developed an upset stomach. A woman who lived in the apartment below Faith and Karenna's was awake watching TV at 3 a.m., roughly the time that the college students returned home. At that time, the woman heard 3 loud thumps coming from the apartment above. To her, it sounded like a heavy bag being dropped or furniture being overturned. Faith's Facebook page was accessed at this time. Brandon Edwards, a former boyfriend of Karenna's, received a text sent from Faith's phone at 3:40 a.m. It read, "Hey B, can you come over here please? Karenna needs you more, aha, you know. Please let her know you care." 3 minutes later, another text was sent from Faith's phone to Brandon's with the single word "than," a possible correction for "aha" in the previous text. Brandon replied at 4:16 a.m., asking who the previous text was from. Karenna's phone records show that she was trying to call Brandon at this time, but there was no answer. Brandon had spent the night of the 5th of September in Faith and Karenna's apartment, sleeping on the couch. He left the next day by 11 a.m. Karenna then phoned Jordan McCrary, a university soccer player. At 4:25 a.m, Karenna left the apartment to get into Jordan's car. Karenna told police that when she left, she thought Faith was asleep in her bedroom. Karenna left the apartment unlocked. Jordan drove Karenna to a friend's home on West Longview Street in Chapel Hill. Karenna said she arrived there at 4:30 a.m. and spent the remainder of the night there. At 10:30 a.m, Karenna began to arrange a ride back to her apartment. She called Faith, who didn't answer. Marisol Rangel, a friend, drove Karenna back to the apartment. Arriving at 11 a.m, the two women entered the apartment and began calling for Faith. Faith's car being present in the parking lot suggested she was home. After receiving no response, they entered Faith's bedroom and found her dead. It wasn't until July 2014 that details about the investigation and information about evidence was released to the public. In the immediate aftermath of Faith's murder, the Chapel Hill police obtained a court order sealing all records as they were collected. A couple of months after Faith's murder, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's student newspaper, the Daily Tar Heel, petitioned a judge to release an early search warrant in the case. Instead, the records were resealed. The records were repeatedly resealed, causing the Daily Tar Heel to wonder if the case was going cold. A lawyer for the student newspaper said, "The public has the right to assume the case has gone cold, or it's not being investigated in a diligent manner." Other newspapers eventually joined the Daily Tar Heel in opposing the sealing of the records. Journalist Chelsea Delaney, who once wrote for the Daily Tar Heel, argued that the seal's real purpose was to hide mistakes made by the Chapel Hill police. The district attorney's office said that releasing the records would definitely hinder the investigation. After speaking with residents of Faith's apartment complex, Chelsea reported that the police made several errors in their initial investigation. Residents noted that the only apartment searched was Faith and Karena's, although the police did return to search one other apartment. The woods behind the apartment weren't searched, the area wasn't canvassed, and Faith's car was left unsecured during the search. Chelsea also learned that after the Chapel Hill police requested the help of the State Bureau of Investigation, the residents of the Hawthorne in the View complex felt that the SBI investigators did a better job at asking questions that elicited useful information than the Chapel Hill police did. Chelsea also discovered that the police didn't request footage from the security cameras in the parking lot at Thrills until 19 months after Faith had been killed. By that point, the footage had been recorded over. Eric Takoy Jones was initially a suspect. Karena had once dated Eric, but their relationship was plagued by domestic violence, and they eventually broke up. In the months running up to Faith's murder, Eric attempted to break into Faith and Karena's apartment, even after Karena changed the locks. Faith drove Karena to court so she could obtain a protective order that required Eric to stay away from the apartment. Eric apparently felt threatened by Faith's influence over Karena. He allegedly threatened to kill Faith if Karena wouldn't get back together with him. Around 6 p.m. on the 6th of September, Eric texted an acquaintance asking for forgiveness, quote, "for what I am about to do," end quote. He then posted the same message on his Twitter account. 3 days later, Eric changed the banner on his Facebook profile to read, "Dear Lord, forgive me for all my sins and the sins I may commit today. Protect me from the girls who don't deserve me and the ones who wish me dead today." Eric seemed to be a likely suspect. However, his DNA didn't match the DNA taken from the semen. Eric was ruled out as a suspect. The police also used the DNA found to test against that of men who had attended the Thrill nightclub. DNA testing was carried out against 750 people, and because of this, the police believe they have narrowed down potential suspects to a group of 10 people. The DNA taken from the semen has been matched to DNA found elsewhere in the apartment. Parabon Nanolabs, a genetic testing company, used the phenotype in this DNA to create an image of what the suspect might look like. The image included a chart listing the probability that the suspect had the traits he was assigned. Most of his genetic markers pointed to Mexican, Colombian, and Iberian ancestry. In addition, the FBI created a profile of the man based on the crime scene and other evidence. It's likely that the man had lived near Faith in the past, had shown an interest in Faith, and had undergone a change in behaviour since the crime, perhaps showing an unusual interest in the case. Three pieces of evidence have caused much discussion in the online true crime community. When Karena's 911 call was released, News and Observer reporter Tom Gasparoli transcribed the call. I've included a link to the transcript in the description box below, but it's not an official transcript. Tom believes that the caller could actually be Marisol Rangel, as the 911 caller sounds more like her than Karena to him. Tom has also pointed out some things that seemed odd to him. He notes that the caller never says Faith's name, only referring to her as a friend, that the caller seems reluctant to touch Faith to check if she's breathing, even though she's asked to do so repeatedly, that the caller only identifies herself as Karena after the dispatcher repeatedly asked for her name, and that if the caller was Karena, she never mentions that Marisol is there with her. The second piece of evidence to cause discussion was a note left at the crime scene. The note is only 5 words long and had been written in ballpoint pen on a bag that police believe came from Time Out, a 24-hour restaurant in Chapel Hill that would have been the only place open at the time Faith and Karena left Thrill. Time Out uses bags like the one the note was scribbled on, and it isn't far away from Thrill. The note reads, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." The police haven't revealed if they have had the handwriting analysed. Many in the true crime community feel the handwriting is feminine. Eager to learn more, the Crime Watch Daily website had handwriting expert Peggy Waller look at the photos of the note. She pointed out how the note was clean of the blood reportedly found all over Faith's bedroom, suggesting it was either written away from the crime scene or beforehand. She also concluded that the author was agitated and that the writer may have been using their non-dominant hand in order to try and disguise their handwriting. The final piece of evidence widely discussed is a voicemail a friend of Faith's received the night of the murder. The conversation was likely recorded as a result of Faith's phone pocket dialing and was recorded around 1:30 a.m. The conversation is roughly 3 minutes long and appears to be between Faith, a male and a female. To many, the voicemail is inaudible, but the police have released a transcript put together by audio expert Arlo West, and a link to it has been included in the description box. Crime Watch Daily hired Arlo West to examine the recording. In the recording, Arlo said he could hear Faith crying for help, the male saying, "I think she's dying," and the female saying, "Do it anyhow." He noted that the male and female used the names Eric and Rosie, respectively. The police believe that the conversation was recorded at Thrill, citing music in the background, the timestamp, and metadata. Arlo West has mentioned a known issue with phones like the one Faith had that causes inaccurate timestamps. Arlo has said that his analysis didn't reveal any background noises associated with nightclubs, and he doesn't think that the background sound is music. Both Arlo West and Ronald Hedgepeth believe that what was recorded is Faith's murder. The police has never named anyone a suspect or a person of interest. 5 years have now passed since Faith lost her life. The Chapel Hill police say the case is active and hasn't gone cold. Although Faith has been stopped from helping people in life through her future profession as a paediatrician or a teacher, her family is making sure that she can help people in death. A scholarship named Faith Smile is given to an incoming female freshman of Native American descent attending any university every year. But Faith's loved ones are still waiting for answers. Rolanda Hedgepeth, Faith's sister, has discussed that she just wants to know why Faith was killed. In an interview, Rolanda said, "I would just want to know why. What did she do to you for you to do that to her?"